Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
Join us on the 7th Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards 2024 and 10th Anniversary Bonfire Dinner, recognizing and awarding Pan-Africanists who selflessly fought and defended the rights and freedoms of the black race globally. On 31st August 2024 at Fairway Hotel from 3 p.m. Dress code, strictly traditional or African wear. Theme, Pan-Africanism plus environmentalism equals to humanism. Book your dinner card now. Table for 6, 3 million. Platinum, 1 million. Gold, 500K. Silver, 400K. Bronze, 150K. Come, let's rekindle our roots. Call 0757 342 317 or 0782 342 317 to book your ticket now. Africa, don't agonize, organize. Powered by Fairway Hotel, NBS TV, Grow Foundation, the Spy Uganda, Detective UG.
The People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid. This is your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe. This show runs on NBS Television, our partner sponsor, every Saturday from 4 to 5, and follow us on our social media platforms, the Pan-African Pyramid on YouTube and the Spy Uganda Television on YouTube. And also follow us on our social media platforms like the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Today I'm privileged, I'm actually talking to my father, Brigadier General Felix Kulayigye. I will not go into that deep, but General Kulayigye is my dad. Kulayigye, I'm happy to meet you. But now I am your son. But now you will address me as Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
How do you like that?
I enjoy it.
Afande Kulayigye, let's begin from the unfortunate incident that happened a fortnight ago, losing some of our combatants in Somalia. And we also give it a contest. Afande, are you there on money hunting spree? I've had some people say these guys are making money.
On Saturday, after the night coming to, it was Saturday, we had one of our convoys hit by a commanded improvised explosive device.
Commanded,
meaning somebody
is in control.
Was in control. The convoy was on the way to supply food to our troops in one of the forward bases, and unfortunately hit the commander's vehicle, Major Opio Awany, who died on the spot with one Somali soldier, because normally we carry out patrols with them. So with one SNA soldier, 2 SNA soldiers were wounded and one Ugandan was wounded. The Ugandan was evacuated to Nairobi as per the procedures of Artemis. And the major died in a Pan-Africanist cause. To us, he's a hero. Our hearts go to the families. In particular, General Otema Awany, his elder brother, and the Secretary General of the ruling party, Honorable Richard Odong, who is also the other brother. But for us, as soldiers, death is expected.
Hey, ever ready?
We are ever ready. You see, when you go into the battlefield, you either will come back or you won't. When you come back, you glorify God. If you don't come back, those who are surviving will eulogize you as the hero that has paid the ultimate price. So Major Opio Awany paid the ultimate price for the African cause.
So there are no regrets?
No.
That's what he has been expecting?
No, we don't regret it. We mourn him, all right? But we can't regret dying for a cause that is much bigger than you. Yeah.
Afande.
And then the issue about money, it's good you brought it out.
You are in the region making money. That's the spirit.
Well, that's an insult to us,
Hey.
Mr. Speaker. It's an insult to us because no amount of money is equal to anyone's life. For example, how much money would you pay for Major Opio? You realize that when someone dies for a cause bigger than him, that's what actually makes his legacy survive him. If you're a mercenary, because when you go to fight for money, you're a mercenary. Now, if you're a mercenary, death is the last thing you want to experience because you want to enjoy your money. Number two, Mr. Speaker, it's very cheap to give your life for money. You have cheapened your life. Now, the UPDF, a Pan-Africanist military entity as it is, to be expected to fight for money is belittling us.
Someone has belittled you.
Yeah, of course we have been. There have been attempts to belittle us, and then they have even the audacity to ask us, "But how much are you earning out of this? Why are our children dying?"
But let's face it, Afande.
Yeah.
I am aware that every person who exits Uganda to go on a mission is paid a certain amount of dollars, not even in Uganda shillings.
Mr.
That's
Speaker,
true.
it's true. But when
So then it means there is a financial.
When we started this mission in March 2007, there was no single dollar. 3 battle groups, one after the other, were sent to Somalia.
So can we say the first 2 battles, the ideology at first was not really about money, but now you have you have now shifted the
ideology has never changed.
Because also, I am told that the person paying you is not even an African, it's America.
Mr. Speaker, the ideology has never changed. But you may wish to know that success has many parents and the failure is an orphan. When we managed to secure Mogadishu airport, others saw now business.
They saw an opportunity.
They saw an opportunity. And you may wish to recall that at the time when the African Union proposed this mission in 2006, the proposal was given to Nigeria. Nigeria said, "Well, there is no money, we are not coming." Yes, they didn't. They asked, "How much are you going to pay?" The
Nigeria?
passenger, yes. And they turned it down. Malawi promised, they never came. Tanzania was requested, it went silent. He said, "No, we are not coming." So it's only Uganda and Burundi that deployed in 2007. Uganda in March, Burundi in November. And even Burundi was encouraged because Uganda had been involved in supporting the Burundi peace process. So you can see that we have been across the region working for peace at no pay. So South Sudan is independent today.
No, they are saying you.
We have our blood on South Sudan, spilled on South Sudan soil at no pay. Our pay is the stability of Africa. How I wish you were born into a continent that is stable across north, south, east, west.
Afande.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Somalia is unstable. Up to now, I'm told there is a very big part of Somalia that is unreachable.
Like which one?
I am told Somalia is in two parts. There is a part that is governed by your assistance. Then there is a part that is being managed and governed, even taxes collected by Al-Shabaab.
Well,
and you are aware, and the government of Somalia is aware.
Mr. Speaker, we operate in a mandate. The framework of our operation is a mandate. It's not up to the Ugandan government or the command of the EPDF to operate anyhow, anywhere. The mission of Artemis, which is formerly was AMISOM, was divided into sectors. Sector 1, which is Uganda's sector. Sector 2, which is manned by the Burundi. No, Sector 5 is Burundi. Sector 2 is Ethiopia. Sector 4 is Djibouti. Sector 5, Kenya. And all these others, like I said, came in later, except Burundi. Now, through the areas where Al-Shabaab is still in control.
So you agree? They collect taxes?
Yes, they do.
Hey.
Yes. Our limit of exploitation is given from Addis Ababa.
Hey.
It's not about us, how far you go.
So there are two Somalians?
No, they are not two. It's the same country.
Because there is one part that is being managed by the rebels, Al-Shabaab,
Yes,
and
yes.
you are aware of it.
Yes, we are.
And then there is the other one that you manage. I am actually told government officials from this other part of Somalia, when they are crossing to the other part being managed by Al-Shabaab rebels, they even accept to pay taxes. Their businesses in that part of the country, they pay taxes to the other rebel groups.
I think they do. I've never gone with
So now
them.
you as a Pan-African army, because they really know the ideology of UPDF.
Correct.
What are you doing about that?
Mr. Speaker, our desire as Uganda was to have the entire mission managed by the African people at no cost. What am I talking about? The way we started in 2007, 8. When you are fighting for a cause, then you do not have to look behind and say, but who is supporting me? Rather, you look forward to work with the people you have gone to support. Because the original stance we entered Mogadishu with was, we are not the solution givers. We have come to support your solution. You have come to support your efforts as Somali people to resolve your problems. And that should be the
In Uganda you would say tetwaga nyo mulabe tulese rugezigezi lwaffe wano tuze kubayambako kye mutugamba gye tukola
si ffe tuyina eddagala mwe mulina eddagala.
naye era temwagala nnyo okutunulira kye batabagambye okukolako.
No, that's what I've told you. Once you are deployed in an international peacekeeping mission or
You keep within.
peace support mission, you must keep within a mandate.
But now this is Africa. I find it crazy.
Yes.
This is Africa. If I believe that there is something I can do the other border, why can't I advise the sitting government that please, even the people, my own brothers, the other part of Somalia, are my brother and sister, and I have the capacity. Why don't we have a joint discussion? If really rebellion is not a business in Somalia, how can you say that me I end here? Although even the other one is part of Africa, is part of Somalia, my mandate ends here. And then you come and say, Africa is one. And we are Pan-African force. We are actually doing a Pan-African mandate. The other ones are also your brothers, Commander.
Mr. Speaker, a very good question. Should be leveled in Mogadishu. I mean in Somalia. Sorry, Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa,
to the
Ethiopia.
African Union Peace and Security Council. Very good question, very valid. But you have a mandate. I can give you a tip. We took our methods of work in Mogadishu by sharing the resources we have with the Wananchi. So our level 2 hospital was opened to the Somali people for treatment. Our water we were sharing with the Somali people. The UN support team said, no, you are out of order.
Hey,
These are only for the soldiers.
don't share.
Don't share. And then we told them, sorry, our way, our tradition as the UPDF, we must share with the common people. Otherwise, whom are we serving? So that's how far we stretch the mandate beyond the official requirement. But on a serious note, why should a Pan-African mission be sponsored by outsiders? You mentioned it.
And that's where I want the debate to go.
Yes. The matter, in my view, is an embarrassment to Africa.
And you are living in it. You are living in that embarrassment.
Well, I wish we could, I wish we were living outside it. I think the leaders of the African countries that are outside, that have not contributed to this peace process, ought to answer this question. Number one. Number two, you know that even paying the obligations to the organizations within the sub-regional groups, EAC, COMESA, or even the African Union, people paying their dues, I'm told they are not forthcoming. It comes back to ideology. If you want Africa to resolve her problems, she must have not only the military muscle, but the economic muscle as well. But Mr. Speaker, if I may ask, do you think outsiders want you to actually have that muscle?
No, they don't.
Exactly.
And now, when you
and
know...
no wonder, sorry to cut you short, Mr. Speaker, no wonder when they see you are succeeding, they give you now, they put roadblocks.
Yes, don't go beyond here.
Don't go beyond here. Distribution must end by this time. Is your ending based on time or condition, situation on the ground? But this one is just based on time. This mission is supposed to wind up in December this year. You have just been talking about Al-Shabaab having areas where they are levying taxes. So, what was the purpose of the mission in the first place? For us as Uganda, we wanted to give a base for the national government to enter Mogadishu, because it was operating from Kenya. Once we captured the airport, the national government came on the ground. Took control of at least the airport. The entire city was captured later. Because I remember the first time I went to Mogadishu, you could not walk straight in the compound of State House.
Hey,
no.
You would zigzag.
A sniper would have to get you.
You needed to zigzag.
You needed to zigzag and bend. And the snipers were looking for us.
In the State House?
In the compound of State House. I mean, the first team I went with, of your colleagues, was 2009. You could not walk with your head straight.
Hey.
No, if you had an issue with your back, then you are in trouble. But on a serious note, Mr. Speaker, the challenge to Africa is for us to take this opportunity to say what was started by our forefathers in 1963 of creating frontline states. You remember?
Yes.
Chaired by Tanzania to liberate the countries that were still under colonial yoke, the colonial yoke. Should have been continued to deal with even conflict areas. Now, on a selfish angle, Uganda is surrounded by conflict zones. In the security studies, we call them conflict systems. You have the Great Lakes conflict system. That's what is involving Uganda, Burundi, DRC. Rwanda had also conflict. That's the Great Lakes conflict system. Then you have the Sudan conflict system, which that time was South Sudan versus Khartoum. Now even Khartoum itself is at war.
With itself?
With itself. Within South Sudan, you have these...
Salva Kiir, Riek Machar.
Not only those. There are even other groups that
I'm told almost everybody in South Sudan is a general.
Thank you very much. Now, for diplomatic reasons, I will not delve into that discussion.
I find that you also fear.
I don't fear. I respect.
Okay.
So, on a serious note, given that we have not enjoyed stability on the continent, Mr. Speaker, the African continent would have made it a priority to raise funds to meet the obligations of creating peace on the continent. Because minus peace, there is no development. Money fears conflict. No investor will bring his money.
It will evaporate.
No investor will bring money where there is conflict. No, they after profit. Except, like I said, those who enjoy fishing in troubled waters. Do you know why? When you are in conflict, nobody is able to look at what they are taking.
What they are stealing.
So they steal at no cost to themselves. That's what's happening in DRC, that's what's happening in Somalia. These countries are endowed with very strategic resources.
Okay, Afande, I know you read the mindset of your commander-in-chief, His Excellency the President.
I hope so.
I'm very sure. Now,
I like that.
Now, what do you think is in the mind of the president, given the fact that he has given it all to ensure that he deploys in Sudan, in South Sudan, he deploys in Congo, and then as he is deploying in Congo, the Congo president is saying, no, please go back. We suspect you guys are supporting the M23. And yet at the back of the president of Uganda is actually trying to give an African problem, an African solution. What do you think is at his mind? Because you remember that your forces were forced to come back.
The ICRAF.
Yeah, save for the UPDF as because you have an independent mandate there, but the regional mandate.
We have an independent mandate, a bilateral mandate in Ituri against the ADF. But there was a decision by the heads of states of the East African community to have a force, an interventionist force in the Kivu, North Kivu, because of the issues of M23. The Congo government expected us to fight M23.
And that's what you had going to do?
No.
You had gone to massage them?
No, Mr. Speaker. We had gone to create an environment for peace, for political settlement.
By fighting the rebels?
No.
By massaging them?
No.
By living with them?
No.
By advising them? By advising the rebels?
No. The mandate,
and you had gone to fight them?
No, when you talk of creating a peaceful, an environment for a political process, you don't take side. When you take a side, you have killed the spirit of a negotiation. In conflict resolution, I know there is where you want one side to win the other. All right? But now when you have a conflict that has an identity question in it, then you cannot afford to take sides. You will exacerbate the problem. So the East African Intervention Force had gone to create an environment for the government and the rebels to sit on the table and talk, like had been the case in 2009. You may recall, Mr. Speaker, that in 2009, our own Minister of Defense then, Dr. Crispus Kionga, was chairing the peace talks between the M23 and the DRC government. Now, it can't be the same same M23 being fought by Uganda that chaired their negotiations.
Their negotiations?
No. It would kill the original spirit.
So now, General, I think now I can read in the mind of the president of DRC. He expected you to support the sitting regime to thwart the rebel groups. Instead, you went to create an environment where they can sit on table and discuss. Wouldn't he be correct if he said these people are supporting the rebel groups that are fighting me? Secondly, you have it at the back of your mind that your own CDF at one time called them brothers. These are our brothers who can't fight them.
There are two things I wanted to mention here. First of all, that one is given. They are brothers. Kenyans are our brothers, Tanzanians are our brothers, Congolese are our brothers, Sudanese are our brothers. That's given. Two, these borders you so much, not you as Mr. Speaker, but Ugandans, you so much value, are a foreign construct.
Yes,
they're a foreign entity.
You still respect it. That is more dangerous.
Unfortunately, that's what the position of the OAU took in 1963. But these boundaries dissected families. You have relatives in Congo. You have relatives in Congo. I met them there. With Mpakwa, Kiki, Amoti. All right? In Bunia.
In Bunia.
Those are your relatives. Now, and those are your brothers, therefore?
They are.
So was my CDF wrong to call them our brothers?
The king of Kasese, Rwenzururu.
Yes.
He governs here Kasese and he crosses.
They are more of a Konjo in Congo than here. In fact, one time the commander-in-chief joked that I don't know whether our CDF is from here or the other side of the border, but it was a joke, of course. We know where he comes from. So the point I'm making is that you cannot afford to have a war between brothers. It is not necessary. In whose interest? I remember when our neighbors, the Southwest, had crossed the border. A member of parliament approached me. Why can't our UPDF fight Rwanda? I asked him in whose interest? Who would benefit from that war? And I brought it, took him home. I said, can you fight with people in Chiburu? You. Because in Kibul, Parotaka, Pajok are actually communities.
Who is that member of parliament? Do you remember his name?
Of course I remember him, but I don't have his permission to mention him. Nonetheless, so to come back to your question, it would be politically unwise to support a war of government against their own citizens. You would rather have peace talks. And that's why you remember every rebel group that has happened in this country, we have had negotiations with them. Yes, all of them. Right from 86.
You're a fertile ground for rebel groups. You look like you love them.
Well, you can call them loving them, but the Bible requires me to love my enemy. Yes. So, peaceful resolution of conflict is the cheapest, first of all, and more durable. It's more sustainable than when you defeat. Because defeat, the other side may feel things were not settled. You remember that's how Hitler...
They were reorg.
That's how Hitler came up.
Yes.
Because he said Germany was not defeated in the battlefield. She was betrayed by the politicians. And hence the Second World War.
He reorganized and came back.
So,
and when he came back, he was more brutal.
Thank you very much. So Uganda's position, the UPDF position, is that we believe in a peaceful resolution of conflicts.
Afande, I know you as a Pan-African.
I am.
Gaddafi died on the African cause.
Yes.
He wanted a one united Africa.
Yes.
When he died, his best friend, His Excellency the President of Uganda, seems to be taking the mantle. Because I see what Gaddafi used to do and say is what exactly our commander-in-chief in Uganda is doing. How are you supporting these efforts as UPDF?
Well, first of all, Mr. Speaker, our president, since his student days, has been active in the Pan-African cause. That's why he trained in Mozambique. Mozambique is not Bunyoro.
Mozambique is
easy, beyond even our neighbors in Tanzania. That's his thinking, and that is our generation, we who followed them in age, what we also breastfed on. Number two, what the late Gaddafi was pursuing, indeed, was not only African unity, but Africa that is capable.
Africa that is self-reliant.
That is self-reliant. Thank you for the word, Mr. Speaker. But that's exactly why he was killed.
Yes.
That spirit of self-reliance.
Yes.
Now, my president is not just speaking the mantle. That has been the language. Where I think the late Gaddafi, may so rest in peace, had diverged from the other's position, was thinking that it was African unity now, where others believed in integrate the regional blocks so that they can come together for a common Africa.
But you see, I found that idea in those days when they were fighting for a free Africa. Somebody suggested that let's have one Africa now.
It was one Nkrumah.
Yes. Then other people say, let it be gradual. Let us have countries independent, but then we work together. Then gradually we now integrate into one. That has taken now how many years? So maybe Gaddafi was correct that let's do it now. You see, when I want you to do something today, and I tell you to do it tomorrow, and in the army you have it. If it is something today, it is today. Why do you now blame him that he wanted it now? Yet actually, he had learned a lesson that in the conference, when Nkrumah suggested let's have a united Africa today, others who had some political ambitions, they wanted to govern small enclaves, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, and so on. They said, let's go slow. Let's go gradual. This gradual process has never been.
Mr. Speaker, the objective reality could not favor African unity now. It It couldn't favor in 63. It couldn't favor now. Reason, one, we have just mentioned it. Our enemies have not slept. But two, the Banyankore have a saying when Wagayengabo, Ngaba Gurusim Bihim.
I think when we are Manisacha, to what Juma?
No. They say the soldiers are few. And you say, you remove even the old men.
Remove the old men.
Get the army is not sufficient.
It is not enough.
You are failing to unite inside your own country. You are still looking at yourselves in your tribal enclaves. You think African unity,
Uganda,
you think you will
Rwanda, Burundi,
rush to African unity and you succeed? How, if people can even think of closing borders, honestly, despite the regional protocols. I remember when we had just come in 87, the late Moi closed the border.
Hey.
Oh yes.
Moi?
86.
A Pan-African?
86. The government of Uganda had only one friend, Tanzania.
Daniel Arap Moi closed the border?
He closed the border.
Hey.
He deployed troops along the border.
Join us on the 7th Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards 2024 and 10th Anniversary Bonfire Dinner, recognizing and awarding Pan-Africanists who selflessly fought and defended the rights and freedoms of the black race globally. On 31st August 2024 at Fairway Hotel from 3 p.m. Dress code, strictly traditional or African wear. Theme, Pan-Africanism plus environmentalism equals to humanism. Book your dinner card now. Table for 6, 3 million. Platinum, 1 million. Gold, 500K. Silver, 400K. Bronze, 150K. Come, let's rekindle our roots. Call 0757 342 317 or 0782 342 317 to book your ticket now. Africa, don't agonize, organize. Powered by Fairway Hotel, NBS TV, Grow Foundation, The Spy Uganda, Detective UG.
The war between Kenya and Uganda is between brothers. We can't fight. And history proved him right. At a time when Kenya had a vice president called Awori, we had a presidential candidate called Awori. Agrawori, and they were sons of the same father.
Agrawori?
Yes. Agrawori and Mudi Awori were sons of the same old man. Save that Awori's mother was the other side of the Mudi Awori's mother was the other side of the border.
Busia and
this one was this side in Busia. So the point we are making is that yes, African unity is desired yesterday. But what is the objective reality? Is that internally we are so divided, we have never conceptualized something called Africa because we still live in the 18th century, many of our communities, including leaders that come in your parliament. Two, you are hearing in one of our neighboring countries, two leaders are at each other's neck in the same government. I mean, then you tell them. I
think that is brought by a copy and paste constitution that a president should be alongside,
running mate.
Yes.
Should have a running mate.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Because now, if you have been elected just like me, how can I fire you?
Among the subjects,
that's why that's a big problem.
Among the topics
I should be able to fire and hire.
Among the topics I teach in Chankwanzi is globalization. And when I'm describing African countries, one of the characteristics is they lack originality. They love copying. Or when they bring something to you wholesale, you swallow. When it's not even applicable. Just like multipartism in Africa, in my humble view, that's not UPDF view. Kulayigye's view.
Now you're speaking as Felix Kulayigye.
As Felix Kulayigye.
Not the spokesperson.
No.
Hey, how are the viewers going to now differentiate a man in a UPDF uniform?
Disclaimer.
Okay.
But history has proved me right. Check. In fact, late Cecilia Ogwal, may her soul rest in peace, one time told the president, Mr. President, I think we should bring back the movement system.
I actually also don't see sense. Because Uganda was more united when it was one movement system.
Yes.
all of us, we were in one movement, but with divergent views.
Absolutely.
It's like a home. You have children, you have a wife, you have a man, but not all of them will agree at the same time on issues in the house.
Do you know why NRM uses a bus?
I don't know.
In a bus, you have Anglicans, you have Catholics, you have Muslims, all moving in the same direction. If the vehicle is, the bus is going to Kasese, you have Batoro, you have Watagwenda, you have Bachiga, you have Bakonjo, Bamba in the same bus. You see what I'm talking
and
about?
Everybody is free to speak their language.
Speak their language.
They can speak Marutoro, those who understand it can understand me.
Thank you very much. So similarly, in a political movement, you have different shades of opinion addressing their issues that affect the country. Now, when you begin bringing party colors, now I get gagged. You are my party member, even if you are wrong, I have to keep quiet. Because I will be seen to be fighting my party. So, as a part of our growth, because the political growth of the African continent was thwarted way back in the 19th century, the partition of Africa found different societies at different levels of political development. Now, when you bring them together, that's why today, when you hear people want federalism, who would federate with who?
And why?
And why? Then it was insane. People in Bukedi, they imagine Bukedi is one group. Bukedi, you are talking about the Japadora, the Banyore, the Bagwere, the Bagisu, Sijui, the Banyara, all those, I mean, Bakenyi. Yeah. All those
when you're talking about Toro, you're talking about the Batoro, you're talking about Bamba, you're talking about Batagwenda, the Banyoro, the Bavindi, the Bakonzo.
So, when you talk of federation, what are you talking about? So, what I'm saying, we should stop copying things because we have seen them. Unfortunately, we don't copy to the fullest. When we are copying Americans here, the Americans love their country.
America first.
America first.
Even when they are wrong.
Yes.
Even when they are wrong, America
absolutely.
first.
Absolutely. America the great. But here, I told you, you glorify your entities like I told you the other day when we met at the
State House Investors Protection Unit.
Exactly. So the point I'm making that in my humble view, we should have developed first and foremost our understanding of where we are as a country. What are we up to? What is our interest?
As a people.
As a people. And then you talk about African unity. It's our president who has been correcting us when we say the foreigners who are joining us. He said, no, there's no African foreigner in Uganda. These are our brothers and sisters. But still, it is still in. Foreigners. No. These are our allies.
Development partners.
The other ones are not allies. Development partners, those ones come here for their own interests.
So why don't we differentiate those?
We do. For us in UPDF, we do.
Because the other issue I have heard people say, these people come here with their interests.
Absolutely.
Now they tell you that we are development partners. But the development partner friend who gives me a borehole during the day in Karamoja, then at night a UN chopper is taking my gold. You're taking gold worth billions of money. Then you're inviting the press, BBC, Al Jazeera, CNN, and so on, to come and show that you're giving Karamoja a borehole. Hey, and that's what Zuma.
The point is, according to realists, Plato, Hobbes, every country pursues their selfish interest in the international system.
Selfish interest.
Selfish, underline it, and bold is the word.
Hey.
So when they come here to give you aid, why do you think they are against trade? Because trade is mutually beneficial. You sell me what you have, I sell you what I have, Mr. Speaker. Now, if you are telling me I am bringing you aid, but at the end of the day, 70% of the money you have given me is actually coming back.
Yes.
It's not a partnership. No. It's exploitation.
And so you're not a development partner like you want us to be.
He's an exploiter.
Yes.
The other one is a diplomatic phrase. And sorry, I'm now being a native. not native in my mother tongue, but native.
No, now your real Pan-Africanism spirit is coming out.
Pan-Africanism. So any African worth his or her salt ought to look internally. What is it that we can offer each other? The other day it was last year, there was a conference on Africa Free Trade Area. And I saw a commissioner for African Free Trade Area. A commissioner in the ministry in Uganda.
Yes. So what was surprising?
I didn't know this guy. I had never heard of him. And indeed I asked him, I said, sir, if
he's an expert.
Yes. If me, I don't know you. So which African knows you that you are a facilitator for Africa Free Trade Area? What am I talking about? That even the concepts themselves have not been understood by not only the common person, but even the so-called educated elite, the bureaucrats in governments generally. So that's why you find now, like the other day, Kenya putting a tax on our maiden oil. I think we are not yet.
And they are not happy because it was them supplying you. Now you want to pick it yourself and pass through Kenya.
Let me tell you this, my brother, Mr. Speaker. If you are the only rich person and your neighbors are poor, they will keep on stealing from you.
You're not at peace as well.
No.
Actually, my father was a Pan-African.
Yes.
In the village, if he grew coffee, he would force his neighbors to grow coffee.
Exactly.
This is the same thing. The late Brigadier General Kasiri Gwang. He was a good friend of mine. I used to move with him in Camp David 1 and 2. I would go with him.
And
Mukono. Whatever he planted, he would entice his neighbors to do the same.
Absolutely.
Actually, he would give them free seedlings.
Exactly.
And I asked him, what is the problem? Why can't you do your work? He said, my friend, don't be an idiot. I said, why? If I grow my cabbages here, and they know I don't stay here, and they grow and they don't have cabbage, do you think mine will survive?
No, they won't.
Will steal them.
They won't.
So why don't I tell him to grow the same? Why would he steal mine? He has cabbages. I have cabbages.
For that reason, once they have grown cabbages or coffee or whatever, then they will look for market not there, but beyond.
Yes.
So if I'm from Bushenyi and I'm growing coffee, I will need people in Kampala to buy my coffee. So now, the Waganda in Kampala, if I miss that word, become relevant to me.
This is your market.
This is your market.
They become a market.
So trade builds this unity better, rather than imposing it as a political entity. I'll give an example. People in Kayunga were the first to sell their pineapples in Kenya. Now the Kenyans would speak Swahili, these ones are speaking Uganda. I'm told the Kenyans would
were forced
they would cheat them, so they were forced to learn Kiswahili.
Yes.
They were forced to learn the language. Today, the cabbages, the carrots,
just like I was forced here at your Kota Gadia
to gambo Kiswahili.
I gambo Kiswahili. I said, mimi nataka kuona afande Felix. The man said, "Unataka?" I said, "Yes." But you mean you're forcing afande to talk to you?
Yeah.
I said, no, that's not what I mean. Okay, how can I phrase it to say I am requesting? I said, unaumba. I said, okay, I've learned that one.
Now there are two stories, but this is for the education of our Mr. Speaker. There are two stories I want to share with you. One was a Ugandan going to Kenya during the time when Tanzanians were here. So at the checkpoint, they asked him, "We mtu gani?" Instead of saying, "Mimi ni nasoma," au ni mwana shule, he said, "Mimi ni mwizi." Now in Kiswahili, mwizi means a thief. He said, "We ni mwizi." And then as they were about to pounce on him, they asked him, "What is your name?" Leo Kivumbi. Now Kivumbi in Kiswahili is trouble, is confusion. So they're saying today is today. Now you say today is trouble. You have said you are mwizi. They had to beat the guy. Then the other one was a case involving Kenyans and Tanzanians. A Tanzanian is in Kenya, he goes to a restaurant. and he said, samahani, naomba kachakula. The waiter looked at him and walked away.
Meaning what? What was it?
I want food. But even if you are going to pay, in Tanzania you don't say nataka. Say naomba.
Naomba. Just like I had made a mistake.
Tafadhali naomba. So every waiter who came and he said naomba chakula, he walked away. And they went and told the supervisor, kuna mtu pale anaomba chakula, ya bure itatoka wapi hapa? Where will free food come from? So the supervisor went to ask him, where shida gani? He said, naomba chakula. Toka hapa. Hapa kuna chakula bure. Then the man said, samahani, nina hela zangu. I
have my money.
I want to buy. Now, equally, a Kenyan is in Tanzania, said, nataka chakula. They ignored him, said, this man is a thief. He says he wants food.
Now, that reminds me of some of the Uganda matters, not one. When they asked him, what is your name? Bazeketa. The king thought they had sent you to spy on me.
Yes.
You die. Another one was asked, what's your name? Buza Baliao. Hey, Buza Baliao, you mean you cannot tell me your name? I am the king.
So, Mr. Speaker, two things I want to emphasize here. One, that we must appreciate that Africans have the solution to their problems. It's a question of appreciating what our capacity is and what the problem is. And who are our allies.
Now, Afande, have you critically identified Africa's problem, and are you on the journey of creating African solutions? And if this is happening, what is the percentage walkway? How far have we gone? Because I see most times, the other day we had a problem with your own brothers in Rwanda. These are your own brothers. Actually, that is your home. Then before you finish that one, Kenya is banning your eggs.
Yes.
And maize. Now it takes a whole head of state to move to Kenya and meet Ruto, speak to him.
Yes.
But then Ruto has been here as a brother.
Yes.
Do we really need to continue teaching people at that level of heads of state the importance of brotherhood and oneness and the urge for one Africa?
Mr. Speaker,
in a Pan-African context.
Mr. Speaker, I know you are born in a Catholic environment, right?
Yes, I am Andrew.
Jesus was here 2024 years ago. Every Sunday,
we go to church.
Priests are at the pulpit preaching against sinning. But you are still fornicating, you are committing adultery,
others
you are killing each other, you are cheating each other, you are stealing, you are murdering. 2024 years later
ago.
So why do you expect 60 years after independence for us to have understood the concept of Pan-Africanism?
But really, Afande, I can understand the Wananchi if they still need the orientation. But at the level of the heads of state,
you think head of state is on his own? Their interests pushing the policies of government. Every government must be serving the people's interests. Now, unless you are focused, and I must say my president is, you say, no, the bigger picture is the other one. We can forego this for the bigger picture. Not everybody looks at it that way.
Okay.
And one of the ways for you not to break yourself or not to be disappointed is understanding those variations. And once you know that there are variations, then you have the patience to wait for the others to join you. Yes.
Okay, I found the other issue. President Museveni left to Uganda and went to Kenya, visited his comrade, his colleague. Few days later, the president of Kenya travels to United States of America. And while there, they give him a very good red carpet, and he even sits on the chair of the president of the United States. On his return, I saw a communique that now I have become a NATO ally in the East African region. I am a NATO ally. Being a NATO ally, in my understanding, means that you are actually not a NATO member, but you're going to do the mission of NATO members. What a NATO member would do is what you're going to do. You are just an ally, going to do NATO missions in the East African region.
Right.
So what President Museveni's mission right now is, first of all, a united East African community, ESC. Then from here, we now stretch our hands to the entire Africa, and then free Africa. When you are a NATO ally in my neighborhood, a Ruto, it means that you are going to give more value and relevance to the interests of NATO. And by the way, to remind you, NATO is the same organization that stopped African presidents from accessing Libya to solve an African problem. Correct. When Libya was under attack.
Correct.
So it means NATO was not working in the interest of Africa.
No.
Now, when Ruto, our neighbor just across, you go there and come back and say, I am now an ally of NATO, it means you're not going to work in our interests. But we all know that President Ruto has been a very, very regular visitor at State House Entebbe.
Yes.
And I believed that he's just going to be another block to the greater mission of a United States of Africa. I told you earlier that I know you read into the mindset of the president, your commander-in-chief. What is the president thinking? I may not get an opportunity to talk to him. I'm talking to you.
I have not asked him what he's thinking. But two, His Excellency Ruto is an adult of a sound mind.
Yes, that is true.
So I'm very sure he's pursuing his country's interests.
His country's not regional interests.
I'm coming. Now, as to how those fare with the regional interests, that much on his side, that much I can't answer. No.
I need to call him and ask him.
He has his social media platforms, please. Ask him those questions.
Okay, in your Pan-African mindset, I know. What do you think Ruto is trying to do in the region?
I don't think what he was trying to do, but I can say it's a contradiction.
Aha.
I can't say that. It's a contradiction. Like I said, he's pursuing his country's interests. I'm very sure, like I said, he's an adult of sound mind. I'm very sure he knows what is best for his country. I believe.
But Felix Kulayigye, the interest for your country must not supersede the interests of Africa and the region. We used to be, first of all, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. ESC is finished. Now we became 5, now we became 7. I believe that we are growing. So before any head of state of these 7 East African countries commit one of the member states to ally with the NATO, you must first seek the views of the other member states. Because we all know the interest of the NATO in the region.
Mr. Speaker, you are taking me to matters diplomacy, and I'm sorry.
But you told me you speak what others fear. That's what they know about you.
No, that's what you call yourself, not me. But may I speak the truth? But on a serious note, those are contradictions we still have to. The waters we have to wade through in the pursuit of political federation. Because actually our desire, my commander-in-chief wishes for a political federation of East Africa. Now, some people have tended to belittle the philosophy that he wants to be president of East Africa. Far from it. I remember the late Mwalimu Nyerere was willing to delay Tanzania's independence to wait for the others in the region. That's the philosophy. Was it because
we are all free, or we are all under captivity?
We are all under captivity?
Yes.
Was Nyerere intending to rule East Africa? The answer is no. And you see, unless at leadership level, and at your level you're a leader, I'm a leader, we must get out of the petty thinking for selfish gains. Like where we started from, what are we getting from Somalia? What did we get from South Sudan? Actually, for me, my bitterness is against Ugandans.
Why?
We create a market for you, you don't go for it. Others instead go. Today in South Sudan, people doing business are Ethiopians, Eritreans, and Kenyans. Ugandans took tomatoes and onions.
Yet you are the ones on the battlefield creating the market.
We created the market. East and DRC, the same thing. Central Africa. When we were in Central Africa, they were drinking this water. When we were there, they were drinking Rwenzori. So we had created the market for your water. The point I'm making, our job is to kutembura, to create the passage. Then Ugandans just flock in and go and do your business. But you are here, I don't know what, you are crying about taxes on second-hand clothes. 21st century. What happened to our cotton?
You killed it as a government, not you.
As a government, how?
You privatized all these institutions.
Coffee was privatized, isn't it booming? Yeah.
You have hit me on the head now.
So the question was, were these cooperatives actually promoting the growth of these crops?
The answer is yes.
Tell me. During those days, was Kasese growing coffee? Are you aware now it is one of the leading producers of coffee in this country?
They were growing cotton.
They are growing cotton. But their soils are actually more conducive for coffee growing. Thanks to privatization, people were free to think. Today, in Acholiland, they are growing coffee. West Nile, you go to Zombo, you see how much coffee they are growing. So, as an individual, I'm not a promoter of private entity. I believe the state must have a hand in the economy. Because in the words of Professor Stiglitz, the invisible hand is not the answer to everything.
Yeah, the invisible hand.
So, if you want the African continent to unite, first of all, promote regional integration. Political federation. Now, when the regions federate, it will be very easy for SADC, EAC, Maghreb, Central Africa and something to come together and say, by the way, we just start a road now to an African unity. What are the advantages? One, bigger market. Two, less expenditure on defense. Because now you have a common defense, common security. But today everybody goes to the market for arms. So you have an arms race in the region. I don't know against who?
Against yourself.
Against yourselves. Three, when you have free movement of goods and services, then even employment will be created. You have a labor shortage area being supplied by those who have a surplus like Uganda. You know, Ugandans are very productive, more than the rest of in Africa. You touch a Ugandan woman, she conceives.
Hey,
yes.
That's by touching.
That's by touching.
Hey. Afande.
Yes.
My second last question. You have seen these the Western African countries.
Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger.
They have now created an alliance of the three.
Yes.
AES. Coming from ECOWAS.
Yes.
What's your reading in that? Because if their argument has been that the ECOWAS has not helped when there are more members, how sure are we that now these three can drive the African agenda? What do you read from that?
The Bible says, can two people work together unless they agree? The Bible says, can two work together unless they agree?
Yeah.
These countries have been frustrated by their leaders accepting to be enslaved by France. Resources being taken every other day. That's for information.
Just like it's happening in Congo.
In the French Parliament, the politicians are saying, and it actually has happened. They said if Sarkozy does not get back West Africa, he will go. And the man has lost it.
Has lost it.
Yes. That shows you what it means. And therefore, if they want to remain controlling West Africa, what should the West Africans do?
They must fight.
They must fight. Now, before you begin blaming them, Check what had happened in the Sahel region. You know those countries, by the way. Burkina Faso, they were suffering at the hands of the extremists. Niger, government almost fell. Mali, the same story. Moreover, in the presence of a UN force, a European force, a French force. And get the distribution, the deployment, the mode of deployment in Mali. One force was where there are gold mines. The other one where there is uranium. So they are not there to keep peace. No. So for me, my reading about the new leaders in West Africa, that they are fed up of exploitation. And they can tell you, Niger, ever since they sent away the French, they are now the fastest growing economy in Africa.
Niger. In just a few months?
Actually, in 4 months.
4 months.
Yes, they had reached that level. Their gold was being bought at $50. Hey. Yes. On the international market, the same amount of gold was at $200. Now they are selling direct.
No middleman.
They have liberated themselves, and you say, ECOWAS, we don't recognize you. You can leave. That's why they have come together. The Uganda say akajobu na kukemanya. Ejans teribuka na nzige.
So you support these guys to leave ECOWAS and form their own?
I support regional integration, but you must agree on how you want to move.
Our interests first. Just like America's interests first.
Absolutely. Have these countries done the right thing to liberate themselves? Absolutely, yes.
Are they doing the right thing to leave ECOWAS and create another?
If ECOWAS is not seeing their point, they are ready to go. If. That's my condition. If. And by the way, you must be relevant. You as a bigger organization, you must remain relevant. So what do? You read the dynamics over the time. But to remain in the eaves and here things are
the roots are drying.
The roots are dying. You are going to fall with the tree.
Thank you very much, I find it Felix Kulayigye.
Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure.
Now the last one, I find it. No, this just happened the other day, yesterday. We already pay taxpayers' money.
Yes.
The job is to protect us and our property.
Correct.
I have seen you create a force within the force that is for hire. When I have a function, I should come and pay you to come and protect me at my function. Are you not satisfied with what we are paying you? Why should I pay you, Felix Kulayigye, separate money for coming to protect me when actually the salary from which you draw the national coffers from which you withdraw the salary is my own money? So we are paying you twice.
Mr. Speaker, you are not paying us a second salary. The Constitution requires us to be productive. Article 209. DOE. Now, because of that requirement, we created the National Enterprise Corporation.
Yes. NEC.
A business arm of Minister of Defense.
Mujira. General.
Lieutenant General.
Mujira.
Yes.
It's in Nakasongola, is it?
Yes.
Hey.
Now, no, not only Nakasongola. We have now outstretched.
Hey.
Yes. We are in farming, we are in crop agriculture, we are in manufacturing. That's us. Okay,
hey, I see you are manufacturing Uzima water.
Yes.
I agree. That one is a good idea.
I'm explaining to you. So since we are required to be a productive army, we created the commercial arm of the Ministry of Defense. Now, the business arm of Ministry of Defense has seen business opportunities.
In what?
Ugandans desire to have personal security. So, we created employment for our veterans. Yes, they are not serving soldiers.
I found it Buzabuza.
Sibuzabuza, that's the point.
You are a soldier.
Yes.
Whom I'm already paying.
Yeah.
Now, this is a business arm of the same.
No.
But you pay me to protect you.
I can tell you this. If there is any money that will be paid, that will be requested from Parliament to pay soldiers of NEC, that parliament should reject it.
Not from parliament, from the national coffers. When you come to me, Irumba, to say, Irumba, you have a function, yes. For me to protect you and your people to secure your place, you pay me 1 million.
Yes.
You're coming in my uniform. Yes.
No. Again, you are not informed. Mr. Speaker, we do not have the security arm of NEC does not use our uniform.
What are they going to use?
I don't know. I have not even seen them.
What about the guns?
They are their own guns.
Not UPDF guns.
NEC manufactures guns, my brother.
On whose money?
Mr. Speaker, NEC manufactures guns.
We give you pick that money to manufacture guns from our national coffers.
And they have
now, after manufacturing, you are saying these are private guns.
As per the other day appearance in the parliament, NEC has made profits in billions of shillings.
If you're making profits from Uzima water, that one I agree. If you're making profits from agriculture, I agree. But for you to come and compete with private security companies to offer security, when we are already paying you to offer security.
If you don't want competition, remove private enterprises. Retire state control. But as long as the environment is for private enterprise, every businessman, everyone with a nose for profit, and Mujira has proved he has it.
He has a nose.
Then he has a nose for profit. Then he must go for it.
Thank you so much, Afande.
My pleasure, Mr. Speaker.
You know, Afande Kulayigye is actually my uncle. But here, he has been addressing me as the Speaker of the Pan-African. When I'm here, I'm his boss. Yes, when I remove them, now I become a son.
Yeah, but I didn't actually receive you here as a son. I received you in that category.
Yes.